my screen. And I was trying this before and it worked, so that makes me happy.
Look at you, you're getting so good at technology.
I'm trying so hard. Kat knows my challenges because half the time I'm like, I can't figure out where it is. It's on the other screen. So I get on the struggle bus with this, but all right, let's get going. So obviously today we're going to be talking about a mid-year reset. And the reason why we wanted to do this today is like for myself, I run a team and I know many of you on here do. My team changes throughout the year. Sometimes, you know, we might have an agent that comes on in the beginning of the year and doesn't end up staying on the team, or, you know, somebody has something that happens in their life and their production changes. And so, you know, we, at the beginning of the year as a team, we set our production goals, what we're going to do for lead gen. And when that changes, sometimes it changes our numbers too. So we always meet and just have a mid-year planning session with my team, and we do a full day. We reset our goals. We follow the 12-week year, so it works out really well. We were lucky to have Mike Gandolfo come and spend a couple hours with the team this year, talking about 12-week year and just getting them really dialed in on that. But, you know, as far as transaction goals go, you never know what the market is going to do and different things like that. So our numbers, we typically will change our a lot of our goals by mid-year just to readjust to make sure we're on track to at least get close to them or over or exceed them at the end of the year. So, but okay, it's July, right? And I actually can't believe it's like almost the end of July, and I feel like summer just barely started, and we're going to be going into fall here pretty soon, and hopefully not a terrible winter. But halfway through the year, halfway through the month, I mean, a lot of times people get fearful and they get stressed out because they're not on track to hit their goals. And, you know, you might be on track to hit them. And if you are, that's great. Or even if you're on track to hit some of your goals, make sure that you're challenging yourself to ask yourself if you've set the right goals, or if you need to like readjust them and maybe set the bar a little bit higher if you're on track to hit them, or leave them where they're at and just celebrate and be happy that you're doing well. Kat, can you see my, sorry, I have to admit some people. Are you a host?
No, I'm not a host today. Sorry. Did you want me to log in as one so I can add people?
Oops, I don't want to message her. Sorry.
While you're adding people, though, I'd just be curious to hear from the group that's here today. Like, and just, you can unmute yourself and say, but like, do you guys feel like you're on track, or do you feel like you're off track? I'm just curious where we're all at with the market. Anybody want to chime in?
Yeah, this is Megan from Baltimore. So we revised our goal. We had a very bodacious goal this year, and we revised it last month. We already could see that our numbers were not going to end up. With our new revised goal is still a good goal, a stretch goal. We are slightly behind. So
I'll jump into our market's down probably 25%. The owner of the company just said it last week. I think it was 25, but around there. And I am down. I had a good year last year, but I'm down 17% compared to last year. So I'm not down as much as the market, but I am down.
I am too. I'm definitely down this year compared to last year. So probably about nearly 20% as well.
That's interesting. Do you guys feel like last year was a hard year? I'm just curious what everyone, because with like in our market, our prices went up so insanely high. So when the rates like doubled, it was like a bloodbath here. You know, so in Salt Lake City, I mean, to get into an entry-level house, you're probably still looking at $500,000 if you want something that's not a piece of crap, you know? So it was, yeah, so it was a tough year here last year. So like for us, I think we are ahead of the game. People have just gotten used to the rates being where they're at, and they're listening, which is nice. They're listening to, you know, buy and then refi, right? So anyone else?
Our market was good last year. We had a great year. Prices were high. It was tough for the buyers, and we're kind of the same price point. For the first time buyers, we're $500,000 or so to get in. So it has been tough, and there's been a lot of cash competing against the first time buyers, which is hard. But we're all plugging away.
Yeah.
It's interesting, in San Jose, we've actually saw the median price is now the same year over year. So June 22 to June 23, median price is the same. So we dipped last year and we're clawing our way back.
And you guys are still like doing well in California, multiple offers, as long as you price it right?
Depending on the property, yeah, I mean, depending on the area. I mean, I saw a house in Cupertino, and I don't know if you all know, Cupertino is the home of Apple, so people love to be close to Apple. And the house was so damn small, there wasn't even a place to put a television on the wall. And it sold for about $500,000 over the asking price.
Oh, my goodness.
Wow.
Yeah,
Yeah, I work with
How are you
several.
guys, how are you guys in California, as far as number of sales compared to last year?
we're down probably about 20-25%.
Okay,
Yeah, so we're definitely challenged by the number of listings. Our median days on market is 8. So we're turning them quickly. If it's if it's a good property, if the property has challenges, then it's gonna be longer to sell and maybe even take a price reduction.
okay.
Yeah, I would say I work with several agents. I work with agents on the West Coast. I work with agents in the Mountain West. I work with agents on the East Coast and in the South. And I would say across the board, every single one of my agents, like sales volume is down in their markets 20 to 30%. I would say that I think part of the problem that I've seen at least was that we had a really slow fall and winter last year, which set up for like a slow first quarter. And just now, like activity's kind of picking up, but it was just like a lag. It was just a very slow start to the year. And so now everybody's trying to kind of play catch up and figure out how to still hit those goals, which hopefully we'll give you some strategies today to do that.
Buyers are definitely ready to buy. I mean, but for no matter, life reasons, life goes on, they need to buy.
Those are the buyers you want.
There's
Yep.
just not a lot for them to buy, right?
Exactly.
Right,
I'm also in California near San Francisco, but we're in the East Bay. And what we're finding is if something is all done, all fixed up, completely turnkey, there have been a lot of multiple offers. There was a little one in our San Ramon area, came on for $1,099,099. Just 15 or 1600 square feet. It ended up, I still can't believe this. They had 104 offers.
Oh,
Wow.
And it went for $1,565,000, and it was just a little peanut house. But it showed beautifully everything was done. So I think if you have everything done, I don't have to take and save money from my down payment to put in a big project. I just sold another one that we had on for $1,900,000 something, and it went for 2.215, so almost 300 over asking. And but everything was done, and that's different than putting something tired, still with the big drapes on and at the high prices.
I agree with you, Sue. That's what I'm seeing as well.
Staging is important and remodeling, right?
Just nice staging, completely different than the house that I listed, but just beautifully done. So.
Awesome.
All right. Sorry, Heather. I didn't mean to take over.
No, you're good. I would rather this be interactive than me just talk for 30 minutes. So please.
Hey, Heather, can I chime in real quick?
Yes, please.
So, we're in the north. I know you've heard from several of our California folks, and we're up in the North Bay. We're in kind of the affordable part of the Bay. And it's interesting for me personally. The start of the year was really, the first half was really kind of, we're used to doing, 3-4 transactions at once. And it was just like one at a time. It was crazy. And I was off by 3 transactions from last year after the first half. And, but the last 2 months, it's just been exploding for us. And I mean, almost every day you're getting a call for a new buyer or seller. And I don't know what's going on. We've been really ramping up our dialogue with really asking for listings. We've been doing a lot of video texting, and but it's really, I mean, we're seeing multiple offers on just about everything, you know, even the $1 million price point. We're getting a couple. I wrote on one that was like that a couple days ago, and even one 700,000, there were 7 offers on it. So I'm seeing things really active right now, at least where we are.
Feels that way here too. It's nice. It feels
Yeah.
good.
Yeah, it's about time. I know. I felt like my capacity was more for sure.
Yep. I know now we have to work again.
That's right.
I'm just kidding. As we want to, but we do have to work again. It's busy, and busy is good. I don't like it when it gets slow. I don't think any of us do, right? So especially when you do all the proactive activity and nothing happens. But you know, the interest rate game it's a tough one. But you know, I have a slide in here even from, did you guys all watch bold predictions? That'll be like, I'll go forward and then come backwards. But did everybody watch bold predictions when
Yes.
Brian was out?
Yep.
You know, it was all great positive news, right? So I think part of like resetting goals and relooking at things and just making sure that you're really organized this year. When the rates do drop, we all know exactly what's going to happen, right? I mean, all the buyers that are sitting on the fence, they're going to come out. Sellers are going to put their houses on the market again, and it's going to get insane. So just making sure you're organized and you got your processes and everything in place, and you're also dialed in on your own time management skills and everything like that when it does pick back up, and you got your team in check and in order. I think it's going to be really important. So I had my marketing coordinator said, survive until 25 or survive through 25. And it's probably, you know, hopefully in 25, the rates do get even better. But I mean, if they get in the mid 5s, I think we're looking good. So I think it was all positive news overall. But today we're going to cover a lot of information. We're going to talk about just reflecting on the progress that you've made so far, how you're doing with your relationships with your current clients and clients that you're trying to cultivate. Making sure that you're delegating and utilizing team members if you have them, and if not, you know, really taking a look at what your needs are as far as staffing goes, and then just making sure that you're aligning your purpose with your goals. This is a tough business sometimes, right? And if you don't know why you're doing it, it's not as, I feel like it's a lot easier when you have a goal and you know, kind of like a purpose of why you're like working so hard and working all weekend long and whatnot. And then some goal setting strategies that you can work on, and then identifying roadblocks. We're going to talk a little bit about how your marketing's looking and things like that. And then we just did the bold predictions slide, so we'll go past that. So I like this approach. It's called the reset approach. This is put out by The One Thing. So if you guys have all read that book, so it's basically reset, reflect on your past and decide your future. So really looking into your, you know, the last 6 months, the previous year, evaluate your priorities and just make sure that you're pursuing the right goals. And then simplify things and not overcomplicate things. I know like this business, you know, we have a tendency to do that a lot. And a lot of that comes down to a calendar sometimes. And then establishing a plan to achieve your goals and do them in the shortest amount of time. And then making sure that you're time blocking actions so that this reactive business doesn't take all your time. So you're not working on your business, or you're not focusing on business things versus just transactional things. So reflecting on your progress, I think it's always important that you look back into the beginning of the year, look at the goals that you set, and really ask yourself like where you are now. Have a very honest conversation with yourself. And just look at the progress that you've made so far. And if there's areas where, you know, you need to give a little bit more attention than other areas, make sure you're identifying those and, you know, celebrate your achievements. I forget to do that. And I have a team, and they enjoy celebrating, and they have to remind me that like, Heather, we need to stop and look at what we have accomplished. A lot of times I'm like, well, we didn't hit our number. We haven't made it there. Like we're too far away. And I forget to look at how far we've actually come. So, you know, make sure you celebrate your achievements, especially if you have a team, so that they know that you're proud of, you know, the progress that they've made so far. And then really analyzing performance. So, I mean, we're in real estate, right? It's a numbers game. So we've got to be constantly looking at like our sales volume. So at the beginning of every year, we always set a sales volume goal. We decide what we're going to do for lead gen. We look at how our conversion rates are. Are customers happy? Are we contacting them enough? Are we talking to them enough? So really make sure you're always looking at your performance and you're looking at the key indicators in your business to see where you're at. Especially when it comes to sales volume and different things like that as the market shifts and changes. So, you might have a transaction number, but if your sales volume is high enough, you might not necessarily need to hit that transaction number if you've got a higher sales volume, if you can kind of look at where your focus needs to be.
Can I stop you for a second, Heather?
Yep.
I'm just curious for your KPIs because I think people will be interested in this. How do you as a team go about tracking those numbers so that you have a clear understanding of how you're performing in those areas?
So we, my agents, we have it's like a Google, I don't know, Cassie, my assistant, she sends out a form that my agents have to fill out each week that asks them questions like how many phone calls did they make? How many connections did they make? How many listing appointments did they go on? How many offers did they write? So it has a whole series of questions. And then we take that information and we use a program called CTE. And it is it's basically an Excel document on steroids. It's like pretty inexpensive too. I want to say it's $29 a month or something like that. But we plug all of that information into CTE. That's where we keep all of our transactions under contracts and everything. So it gives us graphs and it populates where we're at as far as lead gen, sales volume and everything. So like, just like that, I can, if you wanted to know what my sales volume is, I would have to call Cassie, but we can access that. So that's where we keep it. It's a really great platform, actually, if you don't have anything that like monitors that, but that's how I do it with my agents. I find if they send it in to me weekly, then it's a lot easier to, we've got to track the numbers and that works for our team. So.
Okay, cool. So I know do you use Referral Maker as part of your CRM or you just use Follow Up Boss?
No, we use both. Yeah.
Okay. So you use those as kind of like CRM / also like relationship management. And then you have a separate sort of template that you use that populates those data points that allow you to see clarity on where you're at with your goals.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yep.
So why don't you use Follow Up Boss or Referral Maker to track those activities? Because both do. I have Follow Up Boss as well.
Yeah, we actually track everything through Follow Up Boss, but just getting like people's actual weekly numbers where they're giving them to us. I don't want to, there may be a better way to do it. That's the way we've been doing it. Can you go into Follow Up Boss and like look at every single person's, I guess if my agents are really good at actually like using the text system and stuff like that, but if they don't do all their communication out of it, it's hard for us to see what they're doing.
Right, but you can still add them manually, just and then you can look through admin and see, but
yeah. We'll let you do a Follow Up Boss training. I actually need one.
I'm not even, no, I'm like, no.
It's a great platform. I know that we need to spend a lot more time learning more about, we've used it for years and years since like it very first came out, but like for my agents to know if they've gone on appointments and different things like that, we just have them fill it out. It's a lot easier for us than having to go and like make sure that they logged their stuff and tracked it, but they're required to do everything out of Follow Up Boss. But like if it's like logging a call, I don't know. I might have to look into that. Maybe I'll call you, Linda, and you can.
Yeah, we can talk offline. I don't want to.
Well, I know I do like though that you kind of force your agents to take a moment though every single week to kind of recap their week and the activities they've done. Because I feel like sometimes if it's all like automated in a system, it's like you don't really do that reflection piece of like, well, what did I actually do? It's just like, oh, the numbers are in there, and it's like easy to kind of just ignore them. I know I do that with some of my clients where it's like every week we have a weekly check-in where it's like, what 3 things did I do great this week? What 3 things do I need to improve on? What are the top 3 priorities for next week? So I think just the action of like kind of forcing them each to sit down and
but
go
the
through that and
finance
send it
person
to.
in me might say it'd be good for things to tie out. So are they putting their activities in? So then they can go back and go, oh yeah, I had a listing appointment with Mary. I need to check in with her next Tuesday.
Yeah. Because they have to log those. I'm curious, like Maria, I know you're on here. I can't see your face, but like for you, you have a big team. So how do you track this information or just hope it gets done?
Track it. We track it, and actually we just switched CRMs. So it's going to be better, I think, under the new CRM to track, but we were just keeping a big spreadsheet, which was kind of obnoxious. So it was like, if, just keeping people, like you said, I like what you said about the form. I was just trying to think, I wonder if people would fill that out like consistently, right? Like that's the key. It's just like consistently. So you try to round up the numbers, right? And then I would love to know what Joanne does because her team's a lot bigger. But just getting people consistently to give you the data that you need.
We have to,
Always a challenge.
Yeah, we have to be reminding a lot, because what will happen is they'll get really good at it. We send it out to them, so it just auto sends to them on Sundays, and they'll get really
Yeah.
good at it, and then they fall off the horse, and then we have to be like, hey, you guys haven't been sending in your numbers. We need you to start doing it again. And they, it's like, babysitting a little bit, but yeah, it's just getting them into the habit of that. We also,
Yeah.
our team, I have them send over like a calendar snapshot of what their upcoming week looks like. And then they send me over like their goals for the week. So we use the 12-week year, we follow that. And we have a really cool, it's a Google Doc that has everything in it, so that every week they have to update it. So then I can watch what's on their calendar and look at, okay, you said you were going to do this, but then I don't see it on your calendar. So if it's not on your calendar, you're going to forget to do it. It's not going to get done. So I really work with my agents on that, and that really helps them with the accountability piece of doing it. And then we review it. And if we look at things that, they said that they didn't actually get done, then we talk about why didn't that happen? Is it actually a priority? Something that should be on here? If it's important, then we need to make sure it happens. So, that's a really good way when you have a team to do that piece of it. But Joanne, do you have any, do you want to share how you track numbers with your team?
Yeah, for sure. It's always a difficult thing. They really don't like doing it. We've been doing like monthly, we would have a different contest to get them used to putting information into the CRM. And we do the 12-week year also. So we have a WHAM once a week, a weekly accountability meeting. So the 12-week year has really helped us to fine tune things and to, instead of looking at a yearly goal, look at the 12-week goal. And that has been helpful. But I'll tell you, it is a challenge to get everybody to give you their what they're doing on a weekly basis. I meet with my director of sales once a week, and we go over the sales and where we're at and the goals and the whole thing. So it's I'm always looking for something better to do. And so I've been thinking the contest monthly have kind of helped to get people focused. And and when we just had an event this past weekend, and it was like, how many calls can you make, how many people can you get to the event? And so it's, I can't say it's perfect, and I'm always trying to make it better. And I always think, why do I have to hold them accountable? If it's me, I just get it done. But that's not how it works.
Why they're on your team.
Right, for sure.
Joanne and Maria, which CRMs are you each using?
We use Follow Up Boss plus Buffini's CRM.
And Maria, which is the one you just switched to?
RealVolve. We're using RealVolve.
Okay.
I'm sorry,
RealVolve, RealVolve. RealVolve.
And why do you switch, or what do you think the benefit's going to be?
Well, we were using Top Producer for way too long, and Top Producer is just like, is obnoxious. So it took us a while to figure out which way we were going to go with it, and figured that RealVolve just had more things that we were able to do than some of the other ones, including the app. Like we found that we use our agents, everybody, even our support staff uses the app heavily, and they probably had a better app than I think most of the other CRMs. So
how do you guys,
Can I ask a quick question?
you use two? Sorry. How do you guys use two CRMs? Do you have all of your people in both of them, or how do you incorporate two of them?
So we have Follow-Up Boss and the leads come into there. And then that's where they're calling from. They're checking to see, you know, how things are going. And then the Buffini CRM, we use that once they're a client, we put them in there. That's where we put their birthdays, their, you know, once they buy a house, their house and birthdays and those types of things. But Follow-Up Boss, we don't use specifically as a CRM until they become a client. And then we move them to the Buffini.
I do the same thing, Sheridan, exactly like Joanne does it.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like Follow Up Boss is an amazing
Mhm.
lead. It's like, it's great for tracking leads, but like the thing I don't love about it is, you know, you search somebody and you put Melissa in and there's 50,000 Melissas that come up versus, you know, you go into your actual database of relationships and you can find your people and all the info. You have to duplicate some stuff, but you know, the agents typically, the leads like Joanne's do go in there, they manually put them in or like they'll put them in or we'll put them in for them. And then my assistant will transfer them into the CRM once we convert them into like relationships.
Okay,
Like,
awesome. Thank you.
and Katie, you had a question, go ahead.
Yeah, not to go down a rabbit hole, but I had Top Producer as well. I've had it for 30 years and it's been awful now. But one of the things that I really liked is we had a kind of a checklist, like, yes, we asked about the smoke certificate, did this. Anyway, on that checklist thing, I was wondering, does Follow Up Boss or the one that Maria, that you're using, does it have that type of where you can follow it through the transaction nice and easily?
Yeah.
It does.
RealVolve does, yeah.
Okay,
And
that's
it's
great.
got, yeah, workflows, and then you can build checklists in the workflows, and yeah, you can have stuff happen automatically, right? Or review it before it goes out. All the things.
Great, so
Yeah.
I'm gonna sign
So I
up and
wonder
fly
if that
myself to
would, if
Kansas
that
City.
would take the place of Asana or Trello. Mhm.
Yeah. I don't
Yeah,
use
because
Yeah,
I don't think
it
Follow Up
could.
Boss does like has a workflow like that. You can create tasks, you can create action plans, different things like that. But as far as like, you would not want a TC or anything like that out of Follow Up Boss. I mean, it's really just a platform. You can use it as a CRM for sure. And a lot of people do, and it works really well for them. I don't know. I don't know why I like it the other way. I guess it's because that's the way I've always done it and it works. So
Thank you, guys.
yep. And Amber, you can unmute and ask a question.
Oh, I was just gonna say, like, for the more, I guess, cost friendly, I mean, I'm one of those that it's double entry, but I do Asana and Buffini CRM, and you learn Control C, Control V, Control A to select all, and you just, Alt Tab to go between, your tabs, and you just figure it out. But I like, as far as just being a proponent of Asana for the, like, yeah, it's cost effective, but I'm, as a mortgage broker with a processing background, I mean, our systems, it was like we had conversation logs and you have to document everything. And what I liked about Asana is that I can add actual documents and attachments to it, where you can't do that in Buffini. And then I can go back, because I also do like annual mortgage reviews, right? To just be a touch point. And it's just like an ongoing conversation where you can't really do that in Referral Maker. So you can create tasks in there and all that. But I am curious about Maria's, because it's like, if that can also take place of Asana, it's like maybe something to, right now it's a distraction, a shiny distraction. So, but it's a future note. So, but that was all. I just wanted to share that.
Yeah, that's a good point. A lot of people use Asana for a lot of things, a lot more than I can barely.
Yeah.
Not good at technology.
And our TC loves Asana. Actually, we had all our workflows on there. And we rebuilt them in RealVolve, and we will eventually move over there. We got to get through the summer. She's got like 40, files on her desk at any given day. So now it's not like the time to try out the new thing, but we'll get there this fall. She'll switch over from Asana and start using RealVolve.
What does it cost, Maria? Do you know?
RealVolve? I don't remember. I'll have to look it up. Oh, let me see if I can figure that out. Hang on.
Okay.
So to
I'll
kind
look
of
it up.
tie this back into like looking at your goals and resetting, I think, like you said, some of this stuff is like, can be a distraction if you're in the thick of trying to do transactions and things like that. But I do think during a reset, it is important to evaluate your technology, your team, the systems in place, because you need to, Heather always says, you hire and you build processes for where you want to be, not where you're at. And I think mid-year is a good time to look at these things. You might not take action on them right now, but at least to bring awareness to like, do I need to change a system in order to support where I'm trying to get to? And that might not be an action step right now, but just starting to have that conversation mid-year to make sure you're setting yourself up for success. Hopefully when things get busier in the fall and next year.
Well, yeah, and one thing, what I've learned about just trying to like create or bring on different systems. Like we have one, it's a transaction management system called Open to Close, but there are a lot of people out there that you can actually pay to set systems up for you. So if it's something where it's a time issue, just do some research on that. Because there are people out there that will do it for you. If your admin is, heavy on transactions or anything like that. So just a kind of a note on that, but let's talk a little bit about roadblocks. I mean, I think we are our biggest roadblock, right? But I think when you're looking at, when you're looking at, where you're at mid-year, like look back on the last 6 months and just see if there's anything that's caused you to not hit your goals. For me, I have a daughter who's like always off the rails and she takes up a ton of my time. So like, I have to factor that into everything in my life, right? So like, what are roadblocks? What are distractions? Is there anything that you can remove that's causing them? I think I have some really good questions that you can ask yourself. So like a lot of us work from home these days too. So are you in an environment that is supporting your goals? Or are you getting distracted by like laundry, different things like that? And then are you surrounding yourself by the right people or even by people? There's so many people that just are staying at home and not going into offices. So I think it's important that you get into offices, you go do some trainings and different things like that so that you're, surrounded by people that are doing some business and being productive. And are there any distractions that are keeping you from completing like the most important work? So even just, are your clients distracting you? I mean, we are in, I think, probably one of the most reactive businesses that you can possibly be in. And if we're not really dialed in on really managing our calendar well, I mean, I don't know how you guys feel, but I mean, I get to the end of some days and I'm like, oh my hell, like I have 150 emails now. I've accomplished like literally nothing. My calendar went to shit. It's so easy for that to happen. And so it's so important that you're really paying attention to like what things are distracting you and taking your time. And then do the current goals that you have, are they still significant to you, or have any of your priorities changed? So it's a good time to really look at that and make sure that your goals are the right goals. My phone's buzzing, sorry. And then review and adjust. So, the market changes, right? So our market could be down, our market could be up. And so it's a good time to look, have you surpassed your transaction goal? Do you need to set it higher? Do you need to lower it down because, the team's changed or something's changed in your life? Or have you had a personal issue that's caused you to not perform at your very best? So really, I think a lot of times people have a hard time, like I set this goal in January, and I can't change this goal. And if I'll do everything I can to hit this goal, or they get to the middle of the year and they're like, I'm not going to ever hit this goal. And then I just don't feel like you try as hard. So I think it's so important that you really have like a personal checkup and you really, really ask yourself, like, are my goals the goals that they should be? Am I really going to hit this goal? Have I already, again, exceeded it? Where do I need to change it? And give yourself permission to do it. For years as a team, like if we said we're going to sell 150 houses, right? And I'm like, we're so off track, it's never going to happen, but let's not change that goal. Now we look at it and we say, okay, we want to have a realistic goal. We want people to strive for something. And I think if you have a goal and you don't believe that you're going to hit it, I don't feel like you're going to work as hard to do it. You need to believe that you can actually accomplish what you're setting out to do. So refine if you need to make any changes. And then, just have a checkup with your thinking too. Like, are you stressed about the market? Are you stressed about your numbers being down? Really look at what your mindset is. And I think being proactive versus just, again, being reactive in this business, because it's so easy to do, especially if like sometimes we'd rather be reactive, like, I don't want to deal with this, so I'm going to go deal with this inspection or this other problem versus dealing with the important things that need to get done. And I think, having a proactive mindset is just going to help you, be a lot more stable in your business and, create a lot less stress for yourself, and you're going to feel a lot more in control. And then you got to do the fun things, right? And have vacations and things like that in the summertime, which is what we all want to do. So, and I think it's also like looking into the future, right? And seeing what's going to come down the pipe. So, and then I just wanted to talk a little bit about delegating. I feel like that's a challenging task for a lot of people. And even when I see a lot of agents delegate, they don't delegate well. Capacity is a big issue for all of us as real estate agents. And so I know for me, like, I'm running a team, I have rental properties, I have kids, I have grandkids, I have all these things going on, and I have to be a master delegator. And there's a lot of things that, I could do way better than somebody else, but I need to, make sure that I'm doing the tasks that only Heather can do, and that anything that I shouldn't be touching that someone else can do, I'm passing that off. I think a lot of times people get frustrated with delegation because it doesn't get done how they wanted it to be. But how often do we just throw something to somebody and say, just get this done, but we don't like tell them exactly how to do it, give them a due date. I do that. I can be really bad about that, where I'm like, I needed this last week, and I'm like, oh, I never told you that. So of course, you're not going to get it to me when I'm needing it, if I'm not giving you, like, setting the proper expectations. So I think, if you're a really great leader, you're going to know how to delegate and do it very well. And then you set yourself up for success when you delegate properly and you set those expectations. And then if the person doesn't get it done, then you can have those conversations. But it's finding people you trust too, right? That, like, if I pass this on to you, you're going to get it done. So mid-year is a great time to also look at your financials. Make sure you're looking at income and expenses. Analyze the profitability. Look at any ways where you can cut costs, but also, are you spending enough money? So sometimes people cut costs back so much that they're not doing the things or investing in the marketing that they need to be doing, and the business isn't coming in like they want it to be doing. So I think it can kind of go both ways with the finances. I know when the market shifted, a lot of people were like, okay, pull back on expenses, don't spend. But I think it's really important that you remember that there's areas of your business where, in order to make money, you've got to spend money. So, make sure that you're just looking at your ROI and you're evaluating, like, where the best places for your finances are to go, and direct them to that direction. So, and then learning, I think I don't need to talk too much about this because you all are like masters of like conferences and learning, but I'm always reading books. I'm always, like, on our team, we have a book club every single month. So, I'm trying to help my agents really grow as well. And I think learning isn't just about like education either. I think even for our own clients, like, really knowing our numbers, I think it's great that you guys know, like, our market's down by this percentage, right? Like, being the expert to your clients as well is so important right now. That could be the make or break from them getting off the fence and buying, or, getting their home listed. Just being able to really, really articulate and educate people, I think, is very important. So for us to be able to do that, we need to make sure that we're just keeping up on that. Every week on our team, we do what's called the numbers that matter. So I go back and I look at how many homes sold over the last week, how many homes did price reductions, how many listings canceled. So we're always watching, like, what's our listing inventory right now. So we're monitoring, like, what's happening in our market. And it just really helps my agents when they're out there talking to clients and just talking about what's going on in the business. So, and then just maintaining motivation. I think in the middle of the year, when you just really take a good hard look at your goals and where you're at, it can remotivate you. Especially if you're in a place where, like, you're not necessarily on track. I think if you can do a little reset, and then you get excited about your goals again, it will motivate you to get through the rest of the year, which is important. We need motivation. So, and then organization and priorities. This is probably the hardest thing I know myself as an agent, and I watch my team members struggle with this a lot. So this is like in our weekly meeting, we're always talking about, like, time management, what's in your calendar, and making sure that, you're using the platforms that you need to stay organized, like Asana, or you're following the 12-week year. But you know, if you have a goal to like create a process in your business, if it's not in your calendar and you don't honor that, you're not going to do it and it's not going to get done. So just really taking a look at how you've done throughout the last 6 months on time management, what's derailing you, if there is anything derailing you. And like, if you have a task that is just a repeated thing that you're not getting done, do you need to do it? Do you want to do it? Is there someone else that can do it? So really looking at that and maybe using it as an opportunity to delegate some things that you got to take off of your plate. And then evaluating your marketing. So just looking at, there's so many, marketing is crazy because there's obviously a million different things we can do. We can become a TikToker, we can do reels every day. I mean, and a lot of agents do those things and they work for some and not for others. But I think it's important that you're looking at what's working, looking at areas that might need improvement. And you're really tracking performance of your campaign. So are you actually going back and are you looking at analytics? Are you looking at website traffic? Are you looking at your email open rates? Social media engagement? All of that data is going to really help you understand what you're sending out is working and what's not. You know, if you have a certain like a newsletter template and you have different pillars in that, you know, even a tagline will create a higher open rate than others. So it's important that you're always looking at those analytics so that you're not just spending time doing things to do them. You're spending time doing the right things that are actually working. And then, you know, really utilizing online platforms for digital marketing. So a lot of this is social media. And I think one of the biggest pieces is just inconsistency, right? So I think we all try really hard. We, you know, make a conscious effort like, okay, I'm going to get all my social posts on this month. But you know, if you're being inconsistent with it, you're not staying in front of people, and that's a huge problem. And then just making sure if you have a website, I call it user friendly, but you need a website that people can actually open up on their phone. Because again, most people are doing everything from their phones these days, a lot of things. I mean, we're on computers probably more than a lot. So, and then just know your target audience. So you know who you're marketing to. You know, I've got some young new agents on my team and they're on social media a lot. So that's a conversation that we have, like, who is your audience when you're making all these videos? Like, who are you targeting? Who are the kind of people that you're trying to speak to? And then making sure that when people are engaging with you on social, that you're responding back and engaging with them. And there's so many different platforms that you can do that with the social media. And then just leveraging email marketing. So obviously, you know, our databases are like, that's our golden egg, right? That's where we want to really nurture our relationships. And it's important that you have a consistent email marketing strategy that you're sending out and that it's got exciting information in it. You know, you can send out updates on new listings, what's happening in your local market. If there's like a music fest or anything cool going on, you know, getting that out to your audience. And I find, because everything we do, we personalize it. So for us, I mean, we get really good open rates on our newsletters. And I find that we do a lot of community things like that. So I think that helps increase that. So the more you personalize, I feel like the more engagement that you're going to get with people. A lot of families are like looking for things to do. And so being able to send that out, I know, Maria, you got great stuff that you send out on Kansas City because I'm getting it. And I'm learning all about what's going on in KC because of Maria, you know, so I read all of her emails that come out and they're great. So, you know, people do look at that stuff and they want to know what's going on in your local market. So, you know, make sure it's not all just like home stats, houses, selling. So, and then content creation, you know, don't be boring, right? Nobody wants to see boring stuff. They're going to scroll right past it. So just make sure your posts and your content is creative and it's fun and it's engaging visually as well. Not to mention like the video piece of it. So video obviously gets probably the highest ROI according to marketers. But having a good blog that you put on your website that builds your SEO up. Kat can probably maybe comment a little bit more to that, but I know like videos are, I mean, that's what a lot of people are watching videos. So if you're not doing video, you need to make sure you're doing it and just making sure your content's really creative. So do you have anything you want to say to that, Kat?
I feel like that could be like a whole nother training on its own. I will say if anyone has questions, put them in the chat and we'll get to that. I don't need to go off on a tangent.
On video?
Or yeah, blogging or anything like that.
Strengthen partnerships. So I think we need to do that within our own community, but like within agents, and we do it well, like networking obviously out of state, but if you're not on any boards or different like foundations where you're, where you're around different people, like I'm on too many boards actually. So I'm on Utah Foster Care. I get on these committees for golf tournaments and fundraisers and all these different things, but the people that I meet along the way, I mean, these are always business owners, and I'm, just getting myself out there and becoming known as the real estate expert in the group of people. And so I think collaborating and just making sure that you're not kind of in a hole just out there selling houses, but getting out within the community. And it is a really good way to increase your average sales price as well. So, but go give before you take, right? Like, there's a really good, I'm going to tell you about a good book. I think we've all read it because we've been in Buffini, but and just making sure you're like fostering your relationships and you're strengthening them each week. So right now, a lot of listings aren't sitting, or it's hard to find houses for people, but we do a weekly check-in with our clients every Friday, just whether we have updates or not, just to have a check-in with them. And we're always asking for feedback on different ways we can improve. And I mean, I think we get feedback from people every day as well, just even if it's, you didn't call me, that's communication, that's feedback, right? So how can you improve your processes and just make sure you're touching base with people? I think people are pretty nervous and they don't really, information's flying around all over about our market. We're going to have a crash. We're not going to have a crash. We've recovered. We haven't recovered. The rates are high. The rates are low, so, making sure you're touching base with clients and just providing them value in terms of knowledge, I think is really beneficial. And obviously that will help you with repeat business as well. And then transactional versus relational. Again, we're all very relational people on this call, but it's been interesting with having a team, just watching my agents and their interactions with other people. I'm really great about getting on the phone and just chatting it up with people and getting to know them. But I've learned watching my agents that some people, like, that you meet them and you think they're relational, but then when you listen to them like make phone calls, I have realized that I have to do a lot of reminding with my agents that, hey, make sure that you're like checking in with them, asking them how they're doing. Don't just jump right to the home inspection. It's so easy to do that, especially when we are busy people. So make sure that you are touching base with your teams, even your own self. Like when you're sending a text, it's easy to go, hey, here's a question, or hey, did you get the home inspection, versus hey, how's your day? So I think that's important that you just remember to keep it relational, not as much transactional. And then we've all read probably The Power of Moments. I know we did that with Buffini, I think at peak one year, but we're rereading that as a team right now. And it's just a great refresher that just talking about how important it is that we create magical moments for our clients and even your team members if you have teams. So good book to reread. And then, holidays are going to be coming up, unfortunately, since summer just started. But, I would think of a lot of different ways where you can, touch on clients over the holidays. We do a thankful pumpkin every year. So that's the little pumpkin where you give them a Sharpie and every day they write something they're thankful for. Deliver Christmas gifts for people who bought and sold with you, have client events. You could do, most people here probably do a pie party. We don't do one, we do cookies with Santa, but just lots of different opportunities to just shower clients and let them know that you appreciate them at the end of the year. And then I just want to talk a little bit about purpose, and I'm going to go fast because we have 7 minutes. But I think it's really important that you align your purpose with your goals, because again, if you don't know why you're doing what you're doing, it's hard some days. And so I think it's a lot more helpful if you are very clear about what your purpose is. And one thing that I've realized over the last 20 years is like my purpose has changed multiple times. And the first time that I realized it changed, I didn't realize it changed, and I was really lost for a long time. So I think it's important that you're always, reevaluating that and asking yourself, like, what is it that I want? Like an example, like when I first got into this business, my kids were young and I had to pay for their cheer. I had to make money. Like I was very motivated to like give my kids a good life. And so like I was unstoppable. And then when my kids graduated from high school, I just sort of spun for like 2 years and I'm like, what is wrong with me? But I just didn't have a reason to like push so hard anymore. And it took a coach to like shake me, one of our Buffini coaches that I coached with at the time, and make me realize that I literally lost my why. And so I had to come up with a new why for myself. So they change over time. So make sure you're always looking at that. And then we've all done 12-week year, but one of a really great exercise is the have, do, be exercise. And if you've done it before, but haven't looked at it recently, we just did this with Mike Gandolfo on our 12-week planning. So I thought it would be fun to just remind, for those of you who don't know what it is, if you sit down and you ask yourself, what do I want to have? What do I want to do? And what do I want to be? And just dream big and just make a big, huge list on each one of those sections. So I did mine with Mike Lennington. Like I did it like 8 years ago, maybe 7 years ago. And I pulled my list back out and it was fun because I'm like, check, check, check. Now, so I had to redo my list when we were doing our training with Mike. So it's fun to keep that in front of you and remember again, like, what is it that you want to have? Why are you pushing so hard? Why are you trying to do what you're doing? And then here's some just examples of what this can look like. So like, I want a home in Cabo on the ocean. I haven't accomplished that. And I wish I would have, when I wrote this down, if I would have done that, it would probably be like $5 million less than they are today. But just some different ideas of what you could do. Like, I want to be a multimillionaire. I want to be financially free. I want to be an example to my daughters. I want to vacation 4 times a year. I want to go overseas, so sit down and do a little dreaming. It's a good time. Again, it's the middle of the year. Like, why do you want to hit that goal at, on December 31st? And then some goal setting strategies, have your have, do, be list in place. And then, use it into your weekly, monthly, and yearly planning. So that you're very specific about your goals. And then, this is sort of like a 12-week year thing, but I don't know who follows 12-week year and who doesn't. You could do it quarterly, however you want it to be. But, try and focus on 1 to 3 goals. Don't put too many goals onto yourself where you're not going to accomplish them. And it's a really great model if you do the 12-week year model or the quarterly model, just to hold yourself accountable. Again, like I think Joanne said, it's a lot easier to hit those goals when you're looking at them in smaller chunks than such bigger chunks. And Mike Gandolfo did a really fun little mind mapping exercise. I think there's a platform called Simple Minds is what I think he called it. But one of my agents said she wanted like a jet. And so she needed to make $1 million a year in order to, it was kind of just one of her funny goals, she said. So we mind mapped this whole thing out, and it was a massive mind map of like, okay, if you're going to make $1 million a year, this is what you want to do in 3 years. Like, what are the things that you have to do that? And the purpose of me showing you this is I wanted you to see this. And again, like there were probably 20 other bubbles that were around this, but with this, you can take these items and put them into your goals, into your 12-week year, into your calendar. And that's a good way for you to set your goal, is to take it and really mind map it out and then say, okay, if I want to farm a luxury neighborhood, what do I need to do to farm the luxury neighborhood? And then you start building that out and then you put that into your calendar. So it's a lot easier to do it this way versus just saying, I'm going to do it, and then it doesn't get accomplished. And now we're done. So a dream written down. Well, I got to move this. I can't see it. Dream written down with a date becomes a goal broken down into steps becomes a plan backed by action, makes your dreams come true. So the end. Sorry, I had to talk fast. But do we have any questions? I think I see one chat. Let's see.
I have a question too.
Go ahead.
I don't know how many of you guys have teams, but it seems like a lot of you guys are self-motivated. You started a business. It's easy to probably motivate yourself. But what are some strategies, Heather, that when you do set a goal or you do a reset, how do you keep your team motivated and on that path with you so that you can accomplish these things?
Well, I make sure, so it's got to be their goal, right? It can't be. So as a team, we do meet and we set goals together as a team, but it can't just be my goal. Otherwise, they're not going to be motivated. They don't care about my goal, right? So, I mean, for us, it typically turns into a transaction goal, right? So, I mean, how many deals do you want? An example, it's how many deals do you want to do this year? And so we sit and we break that down. What does that look like as far as lead generation every single day? And because we use the 12-week year, I don't even know what I want to call it. It's a really, I can send it out to the group if you guys want it, but all that information is plugged in different tabs. And so we make sure that they're in there and they get into the calendar. And then, we meet monthly, we do happy hours, we do activities together. So we celebrate monumental celebrations. So we, we do pool days and things like that. But I think the important thing when you have a team is that it has to be their goal. It can't be my goal. I don't even know if I answered your question right. So
No, yeah, I guess I'm looking for two like strategies to it sounds like you do a lot of work to, I think, one, lead by example, but also to educate your agents on how to set goals and providing them with different opportunities to learn how to do that and to learn how to be more growth minded.
yeah,
You brought Mike in and you do happy hours, maybe share with the group some ways that you found that you could take a new agent and kind of mentor them into a person that wants to set goals and wants to be growth minded.
Well, I think a lot of people need to be taught because they don't know. And it seems weird, but it's true. But I love bringing people into my team via Zoom or in person when I can. And it's not me just telling them. And we are so 12-week year focused. And so, I'm drilling that in, and it's kind of a complicated thing to understand sometimes too. And you can't just, the book, you read the book, right? And then we have Mike on there. And then I had a different coach that I had come in and do a half year teaching them how to use the spreadsheet it's not even a spreadsheet. I need to come up with the name. It's our 12-week year plan. But I think it's bringing in other experts too that really know what they're doing. And there's so many, we have such a vast network, you guys tap into it, right? Call people, they're willing to help you out. Mike spent 3 hours with our team, super blessed. And everybody by the end of it, they had their goals and they understood it. The mind mapping thing he did with us, it set it in stone at the very end, oh, this makes so much sense now. So I think just look out into the industry and see who's out there. I've had Greg Chaplin get on my team and train on business to business, so I always want them to be growing and learning and looking at different avenues where they can grow their own little business within my Roxburgh group. So, and book clubs, just reading, always podcasts. They are always getting crap from me. It probably drives them crazy.
I think it would be maybe interesting as a follow-up to this webinar to put together a list of resources for people to possibly that you've leveraged or that of that they could maybe tap into to maybe help with some of that stuff.
Just 12-week year. Raise your hand if you follow 12-week. We have a lot. Well, Megan, I sent you that document. Did you use it? Was it, just what it was, is it helpful?
Very helpful, but we went on vacation, so we just came back. So doing a deep dive this week and getting into it. And I'm actually talking to Mike next Monday about it. And I think it's so true what Heather said, is just reaching out. And that's one thing that I have not done. I've been part of the Buffini community for so long. And there are a lot of people that we know socially, but then it isn't really until this year that I started picking up the phone and saying, I need help with this. Can you tell me how you do this? And it has been amazing, the response, the openness, and just people being willing, yep, this is what I do. This is how you could do it. And then taking that information and perhaps tailoring it to how you do your business. It really has been impactful.
I agree. She's right. So many people willing to share. So thank you all for joining. It's 12:03. I'm sure everybody needs to go. I'm gonna stop recording.